Hello everyone, welcome back, I will say, to my channel. Although this video will be posted on the locals community first, because I promised my local supporters to be informed about this very exciting news first. And then this will go on YouTube, probably tomorrow. I am joined today by Scott Ritter, and we are going to talk about something that I never imagined in my life I will be part of, but I am, and this is by the grace of God, I believe, actually, Scott offered me to be part of this collaboration. It's a book that is already ready to be pre-ordered. And I would like to start with Scott asking you this question. Why did you offer me this enormous privilege and opportunity to be part of this book? Because this book is based on the interviews that I was hosting with Scott and asking him questions about the conflict in Ukraine. As everyone knows, Scott is immensely busy. I think he has so many interviews that he doesn't even have too much time to spend with his own family sometimes. That's my impression. But he always shares his time and his wisdom and experience with me and so many other people on social media, on internet. But among all of those people, he has chosen me. So I would like to know, what was the reason? Why my interviews?
Well, you're better looking than I am, so obviously your pretty looks are going to sell far more books. But no, in seriousness, Diana Collier is the editor of and publisher of Clarity Press, which has been the publishing house that I've had the honor and privilege of being a part of since 2015. And she and I had been talking about a book on Ukraine. And I had actually moved forward with a book that dealt with the Ukraine conflict and the end of NATO. And I'm still writing that book and it will be published. But what happened was where do you draw the line on what book you're going to write? Originally, I was going to have the book ready for publication in August of 2022. I was going to discuss the conflict. And I pulled the plug on it because I said, things are happening that are going to change this book fundamentally. And sure enough, in September, Ukraine launched its counteroffensive that pushed the Russians out of Kharkov, out of Kherson, and redefined the war. And then we were talking about, moving the publication of the book to, 2023. And I said, well, there's this whole counteroffensive thing going on that, we have to see how that shakes out. And then I said, we really need to see how this war ends. There's too many variables. What I didn't want to do was write a book that became outdated the moment the book was published. And so, and Diana is a very reasonable person. She understood everything I said. Probably frustrated on her part, but because she needs books, but there was no book. So as a compromise, I said, I did this book back in before the Gulf War, back in 2001, with William Rivers Pitt. He's an American journalist, and he interviewed me. And based upon this interview, we produced a book called War in Iraq, and it actually sold very well. It did. It was published in, I don't know, a dozen or more languages around the world. Unfortunately for the publisher, 9/11 came, and that was bad for publishing, and the publication, the publishing house went bankrupt. But the book did quite well. Didn't get any money because they went into bankruptcy, and there was that. But the concept of the book was there, an interview-based book. And so I went to Diana and I said, why don't we do an interview-based book? And then the question was, who was going to do the interviews? And there was some names put about and all that. And then I got caught up in this whole waging peace, going to Russia, traveling around, and that project went from being on the front burner to the back burner to in the freezer. And Diana kept, doing what publishers do, editors, hey, what about that book? Hey, what about that book? Hey, what about that book? And I was trying to find time. I was going to say, okay, I need to find someone to do the interviews. We need to set aside the time to do the interviews. And all of a sudden the light bulb went off my head. I've already done the interviews. There's this person that's been talking to me since the very beginning of the war, and her interviews are powerful. Her questions are powerful. The results moved people. I've read the comments in your comment, but people were moved by these interviews. People found them informative. They found your questioning to be passionate. They say that you brought out the best in me. And so I'm like, well, why reinvent the wheel? It's been done. It's there. And all I had to do is ask you if that's something. But it's a big deal. I mean, joint collaborations are a big deal. And while you had interviewed me, and while I think we had a good rapport, we've never met. You don't know me. I don't know you. I mean, we only know what we see through the miracle of modern technology. So I was hesitant about approaching you about that, but I did. We talked about it. I think you were. I mean, I'll let you describe your feelings, but there was never a doubt in my mind that the material that we had captured through our interviews was perfect for the kind of interview-based book that Diana Collier and Clarity Press was interested in doing. And so there was no need to go out and find somebody to do it. I already found the person to do it, and that person was you, because you did it.
Thank you, Scott. I have to say, when I look back at that over 2 years now of our interviews, collaboration on YouTube, it's pretty significant number of interviews and questions and answers and energy put into it. And I have to say that actually lately this came to me, the main reason for people to read this book, to look into this book, because not everyone was in the position to watch every single interview we had together and the unfoldment of events, not just in Ukraine actually, but this is specifically, well, it is Ukraine, however, as always, is connected to United States, Europe, economical situation. It's a combination of historical events taking place. But I think the main aspect here is this. There is someone who is an expert. There is someone who has military knowledge, who is a UN inspector in nuclear weapons. This is someone who knows what war is. This is someone who knows what army is, someone who understands the dynamics of those events, who knows the history. And there is someone who is learning, who wants to know what's really being shown and what it means, and if this is the true or we should question it, and ask someone who is an expert and gives, in my opinion, still objective and honest opinion. Sometimes maybe things don't go, but no one really knows how the thing will go. No one is, in Putin's head or those people who pull the strings head, because they change their plans. But I think this is the beauty of it. There is someone who is just a regular person, one of those who maybe finds time not to look at the TV, but to search for something else that will give them a different perspective about the conflict in Ukraine, which many people are at this point, if not quite awakened to the truth about it, are on the edge of waking up to the truth. That's in my opinion. But I think that honestly, what is the most important here, I have to admit that I try to approach everyone who I interview. And with you, I agree. We have a special bond. I think it's a soul agreement. That's how I look at it. But I look from a spiritual standpoint. And I believe that both you and I have a mission. Well, we all do in this world. You are fulfilling your life's purpose, your soul's plan, your soul mission. And maybe one of those plans is to have interviews with me as well, and for me to go through those topics that are not easy. I don't talk about it much, but for me, it's always very difficult to go deeper into those subjects, because I feel things and the level of injustice and abuse and cruelty that could be avoided and is unnecessary and is still going in the world, it's very hard to face on daily basis. And I think the book like this should mainly give people not just the knowledge about the conflict, but also about the level of what could be avoided, what could be prevented, how we can change the future, and how we can make different choices, different decisions, and don't comply with everything we are forced to comply with. So that's my take on that. And I think I will be grateful for this collaboration, Scott. And you know this, I repeat this every time we connect from the moment you offered me this book, even though it's not easy process sometimes. I would be very grateful for this opportunity. And I just want everyone to know that Scott Ritter being guest on my YouTube channel, some people think, oh, it's just for the views or this or that. I don't look at this way. I know that if I don't have a certain sense of trust with the guest, mutual respect with the guest, I will not continue the collaboration, no matter what are the views, no matter how popular or sick after the guest is. And I am very, very honored that Scott has been always so respectful and so, giving me his time and his energy and his expertise, that I will be forever grateful for this, Scott. Thank you.
Well, thanks. But you do yourself a disservice. When I was talking to Diana Collier about the interview-based book, one of the processes that happens is you try to find the perfect interrogator, the person that's going to elicit the most meaningful responses, and then to do that you look for somebody that has the background in the conflict in Ukraine, who's been there and done that and has got the t-shirt and all that, and then what you get is a conversation between two experts that oftentimes would leave an audience in the dirt, because we get down into the minutia and we get down into this, and the audience is going, but I have a question. But then they're afraid to ask the question because they don't want to look stupid, because there's two experts up there who are speaking in expert fashion about a very complicated subject. And I was taught a long time ago that the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. That if you have a question, ask the damn question. And when I thought about you being the person that would ask the questions, I said, this is perfect, because you are the audience. You're not an expert. You're not a military person. You're not a geopolitical analyst. You're a human being with a soul, with a heart, who's asking questions that mean something to you. You're not asking on behalf of anybody. You may be asking on behalf of your audience, but you're really asking on behalf of yourself. What is going on? Why is this happening? And don't take this wrong, but the innocence and purity of your questions is what makes this interview special. Because it's not that some people say, well, what, Scott, did you dumb down your answers? No, not at all. It's the opposite. Because the purity and spirituality of your questions challenged me to come up with better answers. You see, I've been doing this a lot, Anya. I try to be fresh in every approach I do. I'm an honest person, and I approach each interview fresh. But after a week of an event occurs, and then you go on 50 different podcasts, and it's the same question. And you try to be respectful, but I'm only human. And after a while, you just end up, answer number 43B. Well, da 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 da. And they, oh, thank you very much. And they ask, question, 52C. Well, da 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 da. With you, throw out the damn script. Anya came in with a question. You're sitting there going, oh crap, I got to think about this. This one challenged me. This one actually is tugging at my heart right now. And then you answer the question, and it's a unique answer. It's a unique answer. And what's really cool about this book, because what you did, just so you guys know, Anya went through all this material and she pulled out the questions that she felt best captured the interview. But at the end of each chapter, which is a question in the answer, at the end of each chapter, we provide a QR code where you can watch the interview in total. And I'm here to tell you right now, you're going to want to do that because words are words. They're black and white. And when you read them, sometimes you can get the feeling, get the emotion. But if you want to really get the feeling, the emotion, watch the interviews. That's where the magic took place. And so many people have seen these interviews and talked about this magic that existed between her questions and what they evoked in me and my answers and what they invoked in her in this partnership. And I wasn't certain we'd be able to capture this, Anya. I mean, it was a theory, the theory that we would do this. Diana Collier, at first, she was like, what the hell are these things on this book here? What is this QR code? I said, Diana, it's magic. And she's like, I don't know. And then she took the phone, clicked it. She went, this is pretty cool. This is really cool. And it is. Because now you get to read the book. But this book is more than just a book. This book allows these interviews to come to life. You can read the chapter, look, then capture the interview and see the interview and see it in its full context. You can see the emotions and understand more about, and then go back and reread the chapter. These are short chapters. I'm not talking about, huge intellectual challenges here. Then reread the chapter now having seen the interview and watch what it does to the words. Watch how the words, this is, to me, the perfect way to capture the emotion, the spirit, and the content of this interview process. And like I said, I think what you and I did in these interviews is magic, and I think we actually did a pretty good job of capturing that magic in this book. So you were the perfect interviewer. This was the perfect decision. And while all books are a byproduct of imperfect people, and therefore there may be some imperfections in this book, it's a perfect book. And it's a book that everybody should read, not because of so much what was said, although it's important, but more importantly, how it was said and why it was said. Understand the question, why Anya asked the question, and then take a look at my answer. Listen to my voice. Listen to the emotion in my voice. And this book captures that. And I'm excited. It's the first time I've done something like this, so it's pretty cool.
Scott, I want to tell you that because of you being my guest, as you can see, everyone, when you go and you read this book and you scan this code and it takes you to those videos, you will see how I was changing through those interviews too. Because the first interview that actually will be in this book that I had with Scott, I was so nervous because I knew I had these guests of this caliber that I never had before in my life, and how I will be prepared with the questions. Like, forget my English and the accent and all of it, but if I will be able to ask the question that the guest will actually respect me, that I can handle the interview. And I was learning so much. I didn't know any of those things, and I still don't know a lot of those things. But because of Scott Ritter, I was able to at least have a glimpse of some understanding of the military topics and geopolitical topics and the way how he answers those questions. Because usually when you have experts, and this is in any field, it's quite overwhelming, like it's from another planet. You don't understand what they are talking about. The vocabulary is different, almost different language, but you have someone who speaks about difficult subjects, difficult dynamics in a way that people actually understand. And that's why I think, Scott, you also have such a wide audience, because a lot of people just want to understand, and they are done with those so-called experts who they cannot, not only they are lied from those experts about the current situation, but they don't understand what the heck is really going on. So in this book, guys, you will see, you will read the questions, you will read the answers. Scott gave the description of, before this question was actually asked, what was currently going on in Ukraine in relation to this question. Then you have the code you scan, takes you to the interview directly to my YouTube channel. And if anything happens to my YouTube channel, do not worry, I have it saved already. So we were gonna redirect you somewhere else. This is a very symbolic moment for me for many, many reasons. I will say this publicly now because I never said this to Scott in private. I was hoping for a different collaboration, not about the book, something else that I was hoping to come to fruition. And it was just a few weeks before, I remember exactly where I was when Scott offered me this book. And I knew that this was a gift from God. That the other thing that didn't go through, I was looking forward to, didn't happen. Then all of a sudden, I have this incredible offer of this collaboration from Scott Ritter. I just knew I have to take it. I have to handle it somehow to the best of my ability. And the second meaning here is, I was exactly in Russia a year ago when I self-published my book for children, my third book for children. Because the last stage of the approval was done from Russia, I believe that was the reason why all of my books have been removed. I had 4 books for sale. Isn't it ironic in life how life is? A year later, I am here announcing this great project with Scott Ritter, and the new book is out. So thank you, Scott, for giving me this chance. I will never forget it. And I hope many people will appreciate this book, this project, those interviews we had. I know you have very loyal audience. I have loyal audience too. They love when you come to my show. They are always grateful for your time. They appreciate our collaborations. So I'm sure those people will be happy to have this book. And if one day we can all come together and sign this book in person, I would be more than happy.
We will make that happen. There will be a joint book signing, hopefully more than one. And look, it's just been a thrill to work with you. You were the epitome of professionalism. We, as with any project, we started thinking it was going to be one thing, and then we had to do more work because it became something else, and then we had to do even more work. It became what it is now, and that's the beauty of collaboration between co-authors and in working with a publisher, an editor who, I think the input by the editor made the book even more powerful, stronger. It required us to do a little bit more work at a time. I don't know what your work schedule was like, but mine was like more work. But it was worth the effort, and I think the product speaks for itself. So I'm very proud of this book. I look forward to working with you to share this book to as wide an audience as possible, and to getting feedback from it. And like I said, if the stars align and we can go on some sort of a joint book tour and do joint book signings, that would be really, really cool. So let's hope for a cool future.
Thank you. So Scott, I will attach the links down below this video. We will have already the link to Clarity Press, where people can order. This is in paperback, right? And we have Amazon that is pre-order as well. It will be an ebook version as well, correct?
Correct. Right now, if you order from Clarity Press, it's print to order. So you place the order, the book will be print and will be shipped. So you're going to get the book soon. If you go through Amazon and the others, I think those books are contingent upon the books arriving in the warehouses from the printers. The book has been sent to the printers. They say a 1 August date, but it'll be out before 1 August. So however you choose to order your books, you'll get a book. But if you go through Clarity Press right now, because it is a print print to order, meaning for every book that's ordered, they're going to print a copy and ship it. You'll get the book within a week.
And we solve one problem here, and we will end this. I am 5 minutes more than I actually got the time out from Scott, but we solve the problem to all of you who will be audiobook. Well, then you go on the code and you have the interview, so you have already the audiobook.
Yep. Well, there's not. Yeah, I mean the audiobook's there in the print. Diana will be talking to us about the various ways to market this book. This is the problem with being an author, is we now will be in constant communication with our editor, who will be looking for the ways to promote the book in different formats. And these are problems worth having. We have done the hardest part. We have a book published. So congratulations again. It's a testament to your hard work and to what you've been doing all along. And I hope that it helps promote you, and I hope it promotes your your YouTube channel and promotes your ideas. And it will. It should. It's a perfect vehicle for that.
Scott, thank you so much. Thank you for being part of it, for inviting me, and to all of you who are watching. This video will be tomorrow out on YouTube. I want to say we appreciate you all so much, being loyal and being supportive. And if you order this book and one day you have a chance to meet us in person, we will be more than honored to sign this for you. Thank you, everyone. And until my next interview with Scott Ritter, we will see. Maybe we will see when Scott has time. Maybe the end of this month, maybe we see.